England, a small country on the fringes of Europe composed almost entirely of its namesake, Ing, but also some iron, coal, broken dreams, titanium, Jesus Christ, chalk and dog shit. It is populated by 60 million people, 8 million dogs, 200,000 parakeet, and notorious paedophiles Jimothy Savile, Rockall Harris, and His Royal Highness. England is not Britain, nor the United Kingdom, but it is often synonymously used with both. Britain is the mainland, Wales, England and Scotland, and the United Kingdom adds Northern Ireland. England isn't these other non-sovereign states, but it does own these non-sovereign states. I mean, it doesn't. They're equal countries in the United Kingdom, but it doesn't. England is not the most important country. Calm down, Scotland. It's just where all the power is, where all the people are, where all the money is, where the Queen lives, where the Prime Minister and the politicians live. I mean, not together. Well, kind of. They don't call it Gangbang Palace for nothing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Steve, but you're English. My name isn't Steve, but thank you for trying. England occupies the dark corner of Europe, diagonally opposite the Baltic states, which are all flowers and sunshine, and is, and has been, historically isolationist. The Romans beat down the savagery and brought civilization. The Normans came and conquered a backward land. The Orange Revolution gave the people gin, high heels, and the word brother with a V. And the EU brought 70 years of continental peace? Fuck off! That isolationism is important in understanding what England is, in what the Englisher is. England is a land of contrasts. Apart from the misty shores of Japan, there is no culture which has the same isolationist, repressive, and whacktastic tastes as England. It is based on a strict hierarchy, one that doesn't exist anymore, just like cocaine in Miami doesn't exist anymore. Right at the top, you've got the Madge herself, a constitutional monarch in a country where everyone is equal, and why not sit on a throne if your family were clever enough to thrash the peasants, strangle the other strongmen, forge lucrative deals, and elbow its way through the aristocracy over the last few centuries. I could have been king if my grandparents were wealthy landowners with establishment aspirations, the means and the willpower, in the right place at the right time. But I'm not. I just didn't work hard enough for it. The Queen is monarch of the UK, but she is English, quintessentially English, reserved, droll, and with a taste in clothes that must be a piss take. I mean, who's going to tell her? Big Phil probably can't tell what's legit. He is the oldest Greek in Britain. The monarchy and the remnants of a well-defined class system are important because they've divided England. An elite you must be born into, a middle class that may have to have the army called in to pump Merlot into, and a working class that's now been divided into lower middle class and the underclass. People who will never work, whose parents have never worked, and are a bizarre study in socio-psychological immobility, anger, and lack of education. Ideal for conscripted fodder for the next proper war. Thanks, Thatcher! England is also divided between England and London, which likes to think that it's England, although after the vote to leave the EU, it clearly is not. In fact, my friend Jumbo knows all about the EU vote. Let's call him. Jumbo! Hello, yes, I was just talking about Brexit and, Yeah, but English, prim and proper, no sex please. That's all from Queen Victoria, who declared a millennium of vaginal dryness after her husband, Prince Albert, died during the Cthulhu War. But we'll always have a bell end piercing to remember him by. But the thing is the English do like sex. Of course they do. They're people, after each other's precious bodily fluids, like vampire bats on heat. So you have this contradiction in England. American frat boys dreaming of Europe aren't talking about England because there's no sex in England. And the whole teeth thing. But the sexual repression is so strong in the day, it oozes out at night. Go to Europe for the relaxed attitude towards body hair and sex, and they're all talking about the naughty boys on the continent's rim. Apart from sex and violence, though, there's this strong streak of working hard and doing your bit. In many ways, England is almost Asian in culture, putting country first and letting individuals rot, like corpses lining the historical roads of an unquenchable imperial majesty. If you wanted to form a single typical Englisher, it'd be a slightly mixed-race man called Ian Williams, standing in a windswept and grey field, in a vest, with a chipbag hat, shouting, I went all the way to England for that. The type you might say to run at that machine gun nest, watching them get cut down as you finish the sentence with, after we've knocked it out. Then again, Australians living in England that I've spoken to seem to be under the impression that the Englander is lazy. And maybe that's right. It's the worst customer service in the world, apart from Mogadishu. In fact, I don't think they were aid workers. It's all because they're only there temporarily. They're going on to bigger, better things. They're going to become astronauts and YouTubers. Fuck you, social mobility! But the daytime rigidity gives this impression that England is full of passive-aggressive, jolly hockey stick types who spend their time plotting how to flood China with opium and what the hell to do about those damn Mau Mau. And that's right, there is an incredible smugness from the English middle class and upper middle class, matched only by the middle classes in France, the middle classes in the East Coast, West Coast, and Middle America, in Japan, in Korea, Germany, India, China. Well, alright, I suppose middle-class people. I don't mean middle-class people like me, I mean real middle-class people. People with a balding husband or a toothless wife, a shitty second apartment that they rent to me, a child called Tostig, are pretty smug. But England is middle-class all over. The way it presents its history, the makeup of its government, the penchant for correcting other people's grammar. If you're an American who's lived in Englandshire, then I would bet pounds to pesos that someone, in chinos, or a blue and white striped shirt, or a blue shirt with a white collar, drinking an expensive glass of wine that an Italian garbage man would spit out, that someone like that has said, "Oh, you're American, you don't spell colour with a U." That is disrespectful to the language and its origin form. Ha! Colour! It's from the Klingon, as in, Raktu Basu Colour! The English are, on whole, pretty snobby when it comes to Johnny Foreigner.
Where I come from, we don't say what. It's proper to say pardon.
Fuck off. It's a historical thing, and one that, in a way, is being challenged by political correctness. You see, in England, in Britain, they don't tolerate racism. They don't tolerate bigotry. You can be from anywhere and believe anything. But you better wave that flag. You better drink that tea. You better think that the monarchy is great, that neo-capitalism is good, and that democracy, no matter how ill-functioning, is gospel. Unless, of course, the House of Lords overrule it. I'm serious. I've been many places that are not multi-ethnicity. In India's less populous cities, I was a freak show. They didn't like my magic show either. What's that you've got behind your ear? Ooh, a tasty fag. Cigarette. In rural Mexico, people come up to me and ask me about America. But in England, there's a real crypto-xenophobia. Lazy Europeans, dangerous Arabs, tight-fisted East Asians. I've heard these traded not just by white middle class, because it's not about being white, but established middle class. The mouths in power keep talking about multiculturalism, but what they mean is multi-ethnicity. They are striving for monoculture. That may not necessarily be a bad thing. They have a smelting pot and they want to influence the flavour. Anywhere else would want to as well. You can worship Allah or listen to the hip-hop. They just want you to do it in an English way. But they won't say that. After all, you have a youth influenced by America. High streets with shops for Poles, Pakistanis, West Africans, films and literature from across the globe, and even lighter weightage in terms of cultural exports. My parents' generation could still trade on the Britons holding out in the Second World War. Stiff upper lip, beat the Nazis, or, in authentic Englisher, the Nazis! What? The Empire was traded for victory over Hitler, and that rightly is a point of pride. But now, England is just a small man shouting in a large pub. Do you know what Americans say about England? Nothing, because you're irrelevant. And there's nothing bad about being irrelevant. There are plenty of nice places which are irrelevant. Just accept it. And as England realises it can't tell brown people what to do in a totally non-racist way, it tries to export culture, to export an identity. Tooth-cracked rocks and pinstriped handshakes, corpses of men in bowler hats mummified by red tape. England might like to present itself as eccentric, but that eccentricity is totally conformist. Gadzooks, my droogies! The Englishwoman is like a cow, 2 fat lips and a furrowed brow. The Englishman is like a bull, a massive jaw and a shrunken skull. But the English nation likes an honest fight, run by upper-class twits, fought by working shite. A democracy true and true, where an elite rules me and an elite rules you. That's the beginning of a poem written by Hermann von Schlaufen mit Piggybergenhofen. I don't know if his obvious Germanity and the fact it was written in 1940 has any relevance. Of course, don't get me wrong, England, Britain, is pretty good when it comes down to it. I live in a country where they've just found out that a state has been giving water instead of chemotherapy to children with cancer for the last 5 years. Ay caramba. That wouldn't happen in Britain. Glaxo would be charging the government through the nose for drugs that work at least a little bit. So England, they'll question your pronunciation. They'll smug their way into your deathbed memories. They'll buy themselves a 50mm pot of shit brown nail polish for £100. They'll even suck an American cock and invade a former ally or two. But they won't let a principality let your kids die of cancer so a few hundred people can get rich. But they will let some famous celebrities fiddle them. I suppose this is where I say, I'm just clowning England. I love you.